In this video, I am gonna show you how to make t-shirt yarn using an old t-shirt and how to turn that yarn into bracelets. We got two methods coming right up. Stick around. Hey there, I'm Sarah. You are watching Creative Ramblings, where I share simple, inspiring projects. Anything from simple crafts to seasonal home decor. I have new videos right here every week. So if that sounds like something you want to see, consider subscribing so you don't miss my next video. Today we are making t-shirt yarn, which is just what it sounds like. We're gonna take an old t-shirt and cut it up into strips and turn it into yarn. This yarn can then be used to make all kinds of things. Today I'm gonna show you how to make two simple bracelets using t-shirt yarn. So the first thing we're gonna do is grab an old shirt. I've got a couple here. We're gonna start with this one and I'm gonna show you how to cut this into strips of yarn. All right, so we have a t-shirt here, just a basic t-shirt, and I'm gonna lay it out. So this is the bottom of the t-shirt right here. And you want a t-shirt that's stretchy, which most are. And we're gonna cut off this hem first because we don't need to use the hem. All right, and we can get rid of that piece. Now, we're gonna cut about a 1-inch strip through both layers of the end here. And it's okay if your ends are a little jagged. They will be covered up in the process here. Now you can cut 1-inch strips all the way up here, but we're just gonna start with one. So once we have it cut, you open it up, and to make it into yarn, we're just gonna stretch it really good. So I'm just gonna pull and pull, and what I get is this beautiful yarn. It kind of curls on itself, and it covers any of those jagged edges. So I am gonna pull it, and then to turn it into yarn, mine doesn't have a seam on it anywhere. Some t-shirts have a seam in the middle. If there was a seam, I would find the seam, but since there isn't any, I can just cut wherever. And I have this nice long string of yarn. And I have a couple other pieces like that. I've got pink, white, and a kind of a teal color here. So we're gonna use these pieces of yarn to make two different types of bracelets. So the first one is like the one I'm wearing here. It is braided, and then it's held together with a jewelry clasp. So let me show you how to make this one first. All right, so we're gonna need 3 colors of t-shirt yarn for this. A little bit of painter's tape or washi tape, a jewelry pliers, and these are the findings we're going to use. These are little clasps that kind of have teeth on the end. So we're gonna use 2 of these guys, 2 jump rings, and a jewelry clasp. So the first thing we wanna do, move this off to the side, is get 3 ends of the t-shirt yarn together here. Let's start on this end. And I like to keep them nice and long so that I have lots of room to tie things off at the end. So we want to bring these together nice and even on the top so that I can put a clamp over them. Now because t-shirt yarn is kind of rolled, I use that to my advantage here. And I kind of roll them over the top of each other. It helps hold everything together when I'm putting that clamp on. So I just rolled that teal piece kind of over the other couple pieces. There's still all 3 hanging down here. Now I'm going to take my jewelry clamp and just put it over all 3. Make sure it's tucked in there really well. Then I'm gonna take my jewelry pliers and push it closed. And this will hold really well. Just have to make sure that it's on there nice and tight. There we go. So I've got a nice piece that's not going anywhere. Now I'm gonna take a piece of my painter's tape. It kind of reminds me of making a friendship bracelet. I'm just gonna tape that piece down on the table, separate my 3 strands, And I probably don't need them this long. We're gonna maybe cut this off, maybe right about here. Save these for something else. And we're just gonna braid it. Now t-shirt yarn is pretty stretchy, but I'm gonna put my wrist down and kind of fold it over to see how it fits. I wanna go a little bit longer here. All right, then once I've got to the end, I'm gonna make sure that I have all the pieces lined up nicely, and I'm gonna cut straight across so I can put that next clamp on. And I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take this teal color, because it seems to be my largest piece of yarn, kind of wrap it around the other colors. So I've got a nice bundle on the end there. Then I'm gonna take my clamp, just put it over the top, use that jewelry plier again, and squeeze it into place. Such a simple process. There. So we can take these ends, move them away, take my tape off, and I've got this cute little braided bracelet. Now to add the clasp, all we're going to do is open up a jump ring. So I grab my jewelry pliers and then I just open it up with one side, and I'm going to thread the clamp onto one end, or the clasp onto one end, and then put it through the clamp, and then close that jump ring back up. So there on one side we have the clasp, and on the other side we're just gonna add this last jump ring. So open it up, put it through the little loop there, and close it. All right, so then you just take the clasp, put it on like this. It's held together nicely, just like this on my wrist here. And you have a cute little bracelet. So that is bracelet number 1. Let me show you how to make number 2. All right, for bracelet number 2, we're gonna have a nice long thread of t-shirt yarn. I'm using white for this one. A little bit of painter's tape. Keep scissors on hand. You might need that later. And then some beads. Now I went through and grabbed some beads. You wanna make sure they have a nice kind of wide hole to them. So all of these have a pretty big hole. And we are gonna string these onto the t-shirt yarn. So the first thing I'm going to do is kind of lay out the beads in the pattern that I want. This is going to be a wrap bracelet, so it is going to wrap around my wrist a couple of times. But I still want a nice pattern. All right, I think I like how that looks. I'll put my extra beads aside. Now to help us string these onto the yarn, I'm just gonna get a little piece of painter's tape, maybe a little bigger than that. And I am going to roll this up nice and tight on the end. And I'm just gonna put the painter's tape around it to almost act like a needle, so that when I thread these beads on, I have a nice stiff edge to poke through. So I'm gonna cut off that excess tape, and I'm gonna cut it on kind of an angle so that I have a point. And now I can start threading my beads. So I'm just gonna start down here and thread these on. All right, everything's strung on nice and easy. Now I'm going to, this piece of yarn is pretty big. I am going to just space these out a little bit. And with a bracelet like this, nothing's really permanent. You can kind of move these around. All right, now I'm gonna take these two ends, I'm gonna cut that tape off, and I'm just going to tie them in a square knot. Pull it really tight, and then trim off the ends. And then I'm gonna take one of these last beads here and just kind of pull it over the knot or right up next to the knot to make it a little more secure. There, so that particular bead kind of covers up the knot. Now, the way that this works, you could make this a necklace or a bracelet, but it is a wrap one. And so I am gonna take it, I'm gonna twist it in half, twist it in half again, and I have a really fun wrap bracelet with all kinds of different beads on it. You can also do this as a necklace. So we can take that same piece, wrap it twice, and then it's a cool like layered necklace. So there are two ways to use t-shirt yarn to make bracelets, a wrap bracelet, a necklace, all kinds of fun things. This is one of those projects that is really fun for kids, for teens, for adults. Anybody can have fun with this. It's a great way to upcycle some of those old t-shirts. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Let me know down below if you have any questions or if you are gonna start making t-shirt yarn bracelets. I have linked some key products that we use here today down in the description. So a couple of these jewelry findings that are on the bracelet here, and then some beads that I really like. So you can get started making your t-shirt bracelets right away. Thank you so much for watching today. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will be back next week with another simple, creative video. Bye-bye.